Hi, and thanks for stopping by. My name's Larry Weinstein, and I'm both a CPA and the founder of SolveMyTaxProblems.com. And today I wanted to answer the question, who is easier to work with? ACS, Automated Collection Services, or a revenue officer? Well, that's kind of a loaded question. There's not really a single good answer. But here are some of the guidelines that I would suggest that come into play in answering that question. How complex is your problem? If your situation is very complex as it relates to filling out the 433A, the collection information form for individuals, then I would suggest it's easier to work one-on-one with a revenue officer. So if you've got a more complex case, I would suggest a revenue officer would be a little easier to deal with. If you have a simple matter, it's simply a matter of filing tax returns, your financial situation is not that complicated, then in that situation I would say dealing with ACS might be a little easier. A revenue officer in that situation might ask too many questions for your liking. Might make it more difficult to come to some type of resolution. So it really just depends upon the complexity of your situation. Also, I think it really gets down to who is it that handles your matter at ACS, and that's all going to be over the phone, by the way. You're going to deal with them over the phone, sometimes by mail, but mostly over the phone. And it really depends upon who you get on the other end of the line. Are they very workable? Are they very rigid? If they're workable, and everybody's going to follow the guidelines, but some people are frankly just a little easier to work with than others. Versus revenue officers. They're people just like we are, believe it or not. Some of them are more friendly. Some of them are easier to work with than others. Some of them are a little harder. Some of them play by the book. Some of those guys, some of these revenue officers are really hard to deal with. Some of them don't see the plight of the individual taxpayer. They think the taxpayer is not a nice person. On the other hand, there's lots of revenue officers that understand. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Okay, sometimes good people have IRS tax problems, and they're there to help them solve the IRS tax matter as easily as possible. So it really depends on who's easier to work with, ACS or revenue officer. In my opinion, it depends upon the complexity of the problem, first and foremost. And then it really depends upon the person that you're dealing with at ACS versus the person that you're dealing with in person as a revenue officer. That's it for today. Appreciate you stopping by. Look forward to talking to you again real soon.